Jody, make sure to exit out of the page.
Yes, and just to let everybody know, we're also broadcasting this meeting onto YouTube Live, so that everybody can access it afterwards. Okay, so perfect. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our third informative event of the year. We are very glad to have you all here, and we hope that you will be able to gain some very useful insights from our two amazing guest speakers here. In this webinar, you will get a chance to learn more about the pre-dental and dental journeys, getting involved with extracurricular activities, tips on the DAT, and a lot more useful insights about the process of getting into dental school and kind of a deep dive into dental students' life. After the event has finished, if time permits, we're going to have a Q&A, so you guys can ask any outstanding questions that you may have, so try and stick around. But before I pass the stage to our speakers, I'd like to take a few minutes to introduce the club. So the Bright Future Dentists team is a student-run organization dedicated to helping students on their path to dentistry. We plan on doing this by networking, mentorship, educational, and opportunity-related workshops and webinars. In addition, we want to help students get insights into the field of dentistry, so we plan on creating a space where students are allowed to come together and make friendships and network with one another. As always, if any of you guys are general members, please remember to record your own hours. How you can go about this is to keep the name of the event, the date, as well as the number of hours that you attend the event for. Also, keep in mind that if you want to gain more volunteer hours, you can do so by posting our events on your Instagram stories. And for every 4 posts that you repost on your stories, you will get an equivalent of 1 hour of volunteering. Please make sure to keep a screenshot of this so that we can keep a record of it as well. Now I'd like to pass the stage to our speakers to kindly introduce themselves.
Sorry, just before the speakers start, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the event. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who came, the speakers and all our viewers today, and my wonderful team for helping set up this event. So today as Doreen said, we're just going to be covering some information about, just generally what it's like being in dental school, and any tips and tricks that you guys can use as undergrads to just know what you're getting yourself into, and like how to be prepared, how to work ahead, things like that. So with that, I would like to start off with the first question. Or actually, no, yeah, we would like to start with introducing the speaker. So I guess, Yasha, you can start by introducing yourself.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yasha. I'm a dental student, third-year dental student at U of T. I want to thank the Bright Future Dentist Club for inviting me to speak here. So for me, I've had a few degrees done before applying for dentistry. So my first degree was a bachelor in human biology, health and disease. After that, I did a master's in laboratory medicine and pathobiology. Now I was skeptical about doing my career in research. So after working a few years, I decided I want to switch to something else, that I want to work with people, work with my hands. So that's when I made the decision. I went to New York, I did a bachelor in psychology, and then here I am.
Thank you so much. Nima, you can introduce yourself now.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you guys for having me. My name is Nima Ligwan, and my journey was definitely not as fun as Yasha's. I took the quick road, I guess. And yeah, I did my undergrad in life sciences at U of T. I double majored in immunology and human biology. Actually, Yasha, I started in health and disease and then switched to human biology. So that we have in common. And right now I'm I've officially started my third year of dental school at Western University Schulich School of Medicine and Dentistry. Yeah, happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for being here. It's really nice to have you. So just before I start asking you guys the questions, I just want to tell the viewers that the disclaimer slide that I missed, very beautifully missed it, but it's just we're recommending to you guys our own experiences, and it's nothing you should use as like a recipe for how dentistry works. Everyone's journey is different. Everybody goes to different experiences before choosing dentistry or not choosing dentistry. So always make sure to take our advice with a grain of salt. So yeah, with that, I guess I can ask the first question. So Yasha and Nima, so we all know that becoming a dentist is like not the easiest one. And, just like there's so many different things, like you have to work so many long hours, you have to study so much. So why is this a great career to get into? Like, why did you guys choose it? What were some things that you took into consideration when you picked this careers? Like, was it like the activity, like you can go and interact with patients? So like, what was it for you that really made this career really nice? So I guess Nima, you can
Okay.
start because we're alternating.
Okay, sure. I'll get the ball rolling. So I would say that, again, first of all, thank you so much for that disclaimer. I was going to say something similar to that myself, because we've each had very different journeys and come from different backgrounds. So one recipe does not apply for everyone. But yeah, thanks for that. I actually started when I was in high school. I wanted to pursue architecture until grade 12, but then in a series of events, I did a 180, and I was like, no, I want to do life sci. And by that time, I had just arrived in Canada. I think it was 2014. So I was like, yeah, I want to do life science instead. And I kind of knew from the beginning that I didn't want to do medicine, to be honest. No, I'm not taking shots at medical students. That's actually respect so much what they do, but it was not for me. And one of the main reasons I liked dentistry more was that in dentistry you have so much control over your career. The gas pedal is in your control. You want to go fast, go fast. You want to work 8 hours a week, go work 8 hours a week. You want to work 80 hours a week, sure, you can do that. It's very flexible. You can work wherever you want, whenever you want, and however you want. You want to do certain cases, you don't want to do certain cases. It's very flexible. You pretty much have way more control over your career. That was a big deal for me. Besides that, I would say that it probably sounds like a cliche, but I really enjoy working with my hands. And whether I end up as a general dentist or as a specialist in dentistry, which is probably going to be oral surgery, the surgical, the manual side of things, maybe I sound like a kid, but having tools and just working with tools is pretty fun for me. So yeah, that's my answer. And to the second one, was there anything that was unexpected? Not necessarily. I would say one thing that I would say with how I'm seeing the environment and the dental industry going forward, if someone is doing dentistry for the financial aspects of it, yes, it's pretty legit. Yes, that's a good point, but it is getting more saturated and competitive. So if you're basically only here for the money, yeah, you gotta make some other choices. I'm not saying don't apply to dentistry, but get exposed as much as possible to dentistry, to the good sides and the bad sides of it before you make that final decision, because dental school is very expensive. Yeah, that one was the answer. Sorry.
Very good. So for me, basically, I made the decision after finishing my master's. In my first undergrad, I didn't go in thinking that I want to be a dentist. It was only after I started doing research and kind of finding out what the industry is in that field that I really started to think that, okay, maybe this is not a career path for me, just because of the it's a very solo career. Like you're working on your own, you read on your own, you run the gels on your own. So or at least that was my experience. And plus I had some other aspects of it as well to think about. For me, money was a consideration, just because I felt that my parents were getting at an age that they're retiring, and I was questioning would I be able to support that, doing research. And so I talked to a few of my friends that were dentists. One of my friends who was actually in the master's program, he was in his final year and he applied for dentistry. So I had the chance to talk to him. So I also talked to my dentist, shadowed him. And it took a while. It wasn't a very quick decision that I just jumped into it. So I really considered everything else. I found that the best part of my master's was me working with my hands. So I liked that aspect of it. I knew that I liked working with people. So that was one of the main things that was lacking in the research field. In the research, basically, you have these standard operating procedures and you just go and do those. And there's also the fact that, like Nima said, you work for yourself as a dentist. You have control over your hours, your career. In masters and or in the research field, when you work in the industry, people tend to switch jobs a lot, and I figured, okay, there's not going to be perfect match back to back switching jobs. So there's going to be a lot of wasted time, and that was sort of the considerations that I had to go through to choose dentistry as a viable career path for me. And anything unexpected? I wouldn't say there was anything unexpected. The most unexpected thing was the COVID that happened, and I think the universities have bounced back from some of the restrictions that we were facing. But yeah, I went to York with the decision of getting competitive marks for the purpose of going to dentistry. So I think that made it easier for me going through all the classes and sitting down and studying.
Thank you, guys. That was really helpful. Yasha, I really agree with you when you said about the research, because this summer I've been doing research at the lab too, and I realize it's so lonely and I don't like it. I want to be interacting with people. Yes. I want to talk with the patients and like do something. Like I feel like I'm not doing anything, even though I am, but it's just like so lonely. So yeah.
No, yeah, for me, so the fact that I went into psychology, I actually put that to the test because I was working in wet lab during my master's, running gels and DNA gels, protein gels. And in psychology, I was testing participants. So the participant would come in and I would talk to them and go through them. And I love that aspect of it. And it kind of reiterated it, like it confirmed my choice. And yeah.
It is very nice that way. So Shami, would you like to start with the second question?
Yes, of course. I wanted to ask you guys, so you already discussed it a little bit, but just to like elaborate a little bit more, what was your major before you applied going into dental school, and were you satisfied with your undergraduate studies at all?
Okay, so I guess I'll take this one. So for me, as I talked about it, it was like a two-parter. So the first undergrad and master's were both in human biology, and then the master's was in laboratory medicine and pathobiology. So it was very science-heavy courses and program. My second undergrad was in psychology, and it was a very different trajectory than what I was used to. To be honest, I really like the psychology program at York a lot better than the science heavy programs at U of T, just because it was more really relatable, like talking about like behavior and cognition, and yeah, like it was, I related to it a lot better, and that kind of made my enthusiasm a lot more in terms of getting through the content and sitting down and studying. It was more interesting to me. And so, yeah, I think my second undergrad at York, I really liked it compared to my first one.
To continue on that, as I mentioned before, my undergrad experience was pretty similar to what Yasha experienced in his first undergrad degree. I did human biology and immunology, very science heavy, but and it was nothing like special about it. And whether I was satisfied, yes, I would say I was satisfied, but I think other perks or advantages that was provided for me because of my undergrad, those were more satisfying. Like the fact that I got to do some research on the side in dentistry because of my like undergrad degree. I think that was more satisfying than the degree itself. But overall, like this is pretty much something that I always tell everyone, and it is maybe quite controversial, but honestly, especially for people who are considering dentistry, medicine, law, pharmacy, these sorts of professional programs, unless you have a particular goal of achieving something with your degree in undergrad, your bachelor's of life science, in my case, or any other bachelor's, do not really matter. When you're applying, they do not matter at all. So don't get too concerned about, oh, whether I should study this or that, or no, just basically don't be a hero. Don't try to be a hero. Just get good marks in your undergrad and try your best to get into professional school, or maybe do a grad school first, because for a lot of my friends, like in my class, out of 56 people, 14 people have master's degrees. That definitely helps. Having that master's degree gives you more perspective, but overall, I would just say that it is not necessarily important what you do in undergrad, and it does not necessarily affect positively or negatively your experience in dental school. Most of my classmates in my school, I don't even know which school they went to, which courses they studied, what was their majors. In dental school, everyone is a dental student. There's no difference between anyone. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you so much. Nima, I don't know like if I completely agree with you on what you said, because I feel like in your undergrad, it's very much like, I guess we kind of agree, like don't be a hero, but I think it's really important to enjoy the courses you take. Like if you like take the right courses that you really enjoy, you want to learn about, I feel like that's always really nice.
Absolutely. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. Enjoying the course definitely helps with eventually performing better in it. But sometimes we forget, I personally forgot in few instances in undergrad. And I remember that I registered for a course because I thought I would enjoy it, and I actually enjoyed it, but it ended up actually lowering my marks. And we like it or not, this is the bitter truth that dental schools, unless it's about the prereqs they have, they don't really care kind of about which courses you have taken. So yeah, that's what I meant kind of by don't be a hero. Sorry if it was a little bit unclear or too much.
No, I just had to come at you, you know.
I
Go ahead,
100% agree with Nima's statement as well. You have to be like in undergrad, you have to be smart in choosing your program and choosing the courses that you take in that program. Because I think first year and second year undergrad, they have some core courses you need to take, and then afterwards you're free to take a few other courses, right? Now for me, I knew that testing, I was better in multiple choice than essay based courses. So I would choose courses that had multiple choice exams. And I think if you're good at the other, like writing essays and long answer or short answer questions, then you should focus your efforts on those, because your main goal is to get the marks and be competitive when you're applying.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I didn't take a lot of essay courses because I knew that my marks gonna go downhill. But I'll save my question to the end because I do have a question about this. But for the sake of time, I'll move on to the good stuff that we've all been waiting for. So the dental related questions, like dental school related questions. So like with the first question, it's kind of like a holistic question. So I just want to know, like, is
Wait.
dental school what you thought it would be? Wait, did you switch to order, Shami?
Sorry, that's why I was okay.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. You ask it then.
We're not quite at the dental journey questions yet, so I'll let you guys know when we're at that point. Just to kind of finish up pre-dental journey, I wanted to know what extracurriculars did you guys partake in prior to applying into dental school? And did you realize that once you were in that maybe you did too much of something, too little of something, something that you wish you would have changed about your experience or volunteering? If you guys could talk about that. Yasha, you can start.
Sure. So for me, just because I was coming from like just finishing up my master's, I had the research background. So the first thing I did at York was to end of my first year, I applied to, I emailed some professors that I was interested in, and I started volunteering over summer in their lab. And that turned into thesis-based course during the year. Also summertime, I think I applied for the NSERC, and I was doing an NSERC program. So it was very research heavy the 3 years that I was there, or the second, third, and fourth year that I was there. And that was just coming from a research background, and I was basically working in summertime and paying for my tuition, and I was like, I have this experience, I might as well use it. Outside of that, I didn't do a lot of other extracurricular or volunteering. I think I shadowed my dentist during third year, and that was it. But it was very research heavy. It was summer research and thesis-based courses. I think I did 2 honors thesis and another thesis-based course as well. But that was it for me. Like I didn't use a lot of my extracurricular activities in my first undergrad, just because the time the time had spanned a long time since then. So, but for my undergrad, it was for my York undergrad, it was very research heavy.
To continue about what Yasha said, of course, I didn't get to do a master's degree, especially as impressive as a LMP degree, like the laboratory medicine and pathology. It's a very, so kudos to Yasha, it's actually a very prestigious program at U of T. But I was also like from first year of my undergrad, first summer of my first year of undergrad, I was kind of heavily involved until right now in dental research, in clinical dentistry, evidence-based dentistry. And Yasha might actually know one of my profs, Dr. Azar. He's in dental public health.
Dr. Azar, I think, yeah, he lectured us this year. Yes.
Yeah, so he was my supervisor back in undergrad. Even right now, I sometimes work with him. So not to digress, but I was heavily involved in research, both during summers and during the year. And besides that, I took a lot of like leadership positions. I was the president of the Pre-Dental Society at U of T, and like vice president in a bunch of other clubs and societies. But I would say that I kind of overdid it. But it was kind of intentional on my part because I was trying to achieve something with it. But for just the matter of getting into dental school, you don't need that much of extracurricular activities. I have a lot of my classmates who didn't do anything in particular. The whole thing about dental school, which kind of was surprising to me, was that they're mostly looking for well-rounded people. So it doesn't matter how or why or what your journey has been, as long as you show that you're a well-rounded person, you're in. You have good marks and you're a decent, well-rounded person, you're in. They never look for any type of research, let alone in dentistry. They never ask for a specific type of leadership position or any specific volunteering. It is really good. It is impressive. It definitely has a positive effect, but any other activity, working, or one of my friends who also happens to be my neighbor right now in dental school, she never did any research, but right after undergrad, she started working as a waitress, and a year later, she became the restaurant manager in a very small city of like 2,500 people in BC. And she's now with me in dental school. So it doesn't really matter what exactly it is that you're doing, as long as you try to be as unique and as true to yourself as possible. I know it sounds cliche, but as long as you show them in any way possible that you're well-rounded and you're genuine about your interests, you're in. I don't think you should be stressing about, that's my opinion. There are a lot of people who might agree or disagree with it, but I would say anything that you do what you like and be genuine about it, and they will notice.
I agree 100%. There you go.
Thank you so much. And for the last pre-dental journey question, we wanted to know, I'm not sure, it was definitely a long time ago, like at least over 3 years ago, but do you have any like specific resources and tips for studying for the DAT? Whether it's how long you studied for it, or if it's like a good timing that you know is better to take it and stuff, whatever advice you guys have on that, you could elaborate on. Nima, if you wanted to continue.
Sure. About this particular question, and it's always a topic of fun for me because I am actually not the right person to talk about this. I went rogue with it. I only studied like 2-3 weeks for it, barely 3 weeks, but it was hell that those 2 weeks before because I wasn't planning to write it at all. I wasn't planning to apply, but I was in my third year undergrad, and I just heard, which was my bad, I didn't do my research on time, and I heard that U of T accepts third year students. You don't need your bachelor's degree to apply to U of T. So I was like, oh, I'm a U of T student and I have done some research, I have some background and blah, 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 and maybe I should apply. So literally in mid-October, I was like, okay, let's write a November DAT. And I wrote the Canadian one in 2017, just once. I just wrote it once, applied the same year to U of T, got an interview, but got waitlisted after the interview. So by 3 people. If those 3 people had dropped out, I would have been in my 4th year right now. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but I'm kind of happy with the result. But overall, to answer the second part of the question about resources and tips, I would say I only studied because of lack of time. I only focused on one resource, which was, again, I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I only focused on Princeton review books. That's what I got my hands on, basically. Or it could be Kaplan, that boot camp, this and that. There are a lot of resources out there, and I know it's frustrating to choose between one, but I literally started with the first resource that I saw, which was Princeton. And another reason behind it was that they were sponsoring our club, so I had 50% off. Yeah, I started with Princeton. It was okay. It was not the perfect, and I don't think any resource is necessarily perfect. But I guess I did well enough, or even more than well enough, to just need to write it once and apply with it in my 3rd year and my 4th year. Because I think it's, Yasha, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's you can use the same DAT for 2 years or 3 years, something like that.
That's right, yes.
So yeah, I wrote it in 2017 and I started dental school in 2019. So
that's pretty much it. Tips, I think you shouldn't freak out that much about DAT, even though I'm in dental school. I don't think DAT is the most difficult exam ever. I have way more respect for MCAT, and that's a proper exam. And so DAT was not that much of a challenging exam, I would say. I'm not downplaying it. I'm just saying that you shouldn't be worrying too much about it. But yeah, focus a lot on what your weaknesses are, because unfortunately we all have a habit of doing something that we're good at time and time again because we feel good about it. I really sucked at the RCT part, the reading comprehension part. So for those 2 weeks, I mostly did RCT. Like some people are good at PAT, some people are bad. So realize from the get-go which part you're better at or worse at, and allocate your time accordingly. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think me and Nima, we have more of similarities in our journey than we think. But for me also, I think I wrote it in November of 2017. I started studying the summer before. So I got the books from Princeton. I was mostly interested in their tests because they would give you strength and weaknesses summary of basically what topics you're good at, what topics you're not. So I was interested in that. So I bought the package and came with the books. Other than that, I used the DAT Bootcamp. I found their chemistry videos very helpful. I think, yeah, the chemistry, I was struggling, like I was strong in the biology, but chemistry not so much, and their videos help. The reading comprehension also wasn't my strong suit, so I started just reading journals that I found at the library, just trying to time myself and trying to read the passages like more quickly each time. And yeah, so I wrote it in November. I got the like I applied with that mark, and I was called in for interview. So I went for interview, but it wasn't my year, so I had to apply again the following year. But I didn't write it again just because I thought that I already made it to the interview stage with those marks. So yeah, I just reapplied with the same stats basically.
Thank you guys so much. So we're going to move on to our dental journey questions. So we wanted to first ask you, is dental school how you expected it to be? Your reality versus expectations. Is there anything that really hit you in the face when you first came in your first year, or anything midway that really threw you off? You guys can elaborate on that. Yasha, you can continue.
Sure. So for me, dental school, just the way it's structured is definitely very different than undergrad. Undergrad, you have a choice of when you want your classes to be. And compared to dentistry, you don't have a lot of hours dedicated to classes. It seems that way, but dental school is 8 o'clock to 4:30. So it's an 8-hour day, 5 days a week, and you have to study outside of that. So that was the one thing that hit me, just the sheer volume of content, and they go pretty fast. The profs, some of the profs are just brilliant. Like they know the material inside out, and we're trying to keep up with what they're saying. For example, like the anatomy, they're talking about the nerves, and we're trying to sort of like visualize it, and they already know it, and they're expert at it. And I found that to be very impressive. So the content, the amount of content that was, I wasn't expecting that, but now I understand why they want a person that does well in their undergrad, just so you're able to keep up with the sheer volume of content that's thrown your way. But just because I know it can be overwhelming, but you have all your classmates and they're all going through the same thing. So it's definitely helps having other people who are just as, brilliant or even more brilliant, going through the same experience. And from my first year, I remember the night before the exam, the library would be packed with all your classmates, and then they're all studying and they're going through the same experience. So I love that aspect of it. So you're not alone going through it. And the second year, having the classes online, that helped a little bit, just because it wasn't all 8 to 5 classes. You had more of an easy time with juggling everything, and plus our lab times got shifted to the summer, so it wasn't as heavy. But if it hadn't happened, we would have gone through. So the second semester of second year is supposed to be the toughest, and the first semester of third year is supposed to be the toughest time in dental school. But we didn't think, like, it didn't feel like we had a proper second year, just because of all the stuff that got shifted. But yeah, for me, the sheer content of it, and also the camaraderie and other students being there for each other.
So to continue on that, I could not agree more with Yasha, and it's very surprising that even though we're in different schools, our experiences are pretty similar in terms of how each year gets easier or more difficult, or how each semester is structured. Overall, again, I got lucky because I was doing research in a faculty of dentistry, and because of that, I got to meet a lot of dental students. So I kind of had some idea of what's going to happen in a few months when I was starting. But one thing that was different that kind of hit me in the face was that it's in dental school. I'm not 100% sure about U of T, but for example, in dental school, in first year, we had 17 courses instead of like a typical 8 to 10 in undergrad. And they are very much different in topic. Like, for example, in undergrad, if I was studying immunology, for example, my major was immunology, pretty much maybe half the courses that I was taking each semester was about immunology. So one way or another, each course had something to do with each other. But in dental school, you have a lot of different topics thrown at you, and also you're involved in a lot of different activities. You're not just sitting in class. You're also taking up a drill and just drilling teeth, and maybe you're good at it, maybe you're not. That's a whole nother. You're familiarizing yourself with different tools, different methods, lab protocols. It's very different and sometimes overwhelming. One other thing that I really was surprised, and I was happy that I learned it super quick in dental school, was that dental school is more of a marathon. So, and they always say that if you want to go far, go with the group. So having good friends around you, that camaraderie that Yasha mentioned, that's priceless. And I genuinely believe that some of the friends that I found in dental school are going to be my lifetime friends, because we were in the trenches together, kind of. So it's quite difficult at times, but at the same time, I'm learning a lot from people around me, and hopefully for the rest of my life.
Nima, you're slowly changing my mind about dental school. When he compares dental school to war trenches, oh my God, I'm gonna change my career path. Like, I'm decided now. No, but I totally understand. That's why we're all starting early. We want to create like a good networking group where we can all help each other to become good dentists, because we have similar goals and we want to work together to achieve them. Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. I'm just making jokes with you. But
Oh, Sorma glitched. So, okay, I'm just gonna say the next question until she reconnects. So how does a dental student schedule and workload compare to an undergraduate student schedule and workload? Especially you, Yasha, you went through 2 undergraduate degrees. So I think you can definitely say a lot about this one. But just in general, like I think with also like the such like heavy content like undergrad programs that you guys did, I think you guys have really good time management experience. So if you could elaborate on that. If Nima, you wanted to continue on.
Sure. I kind of touched on this point in my previous answer, but overall, I would say the workload is, in my opinion, is definitely more than undergrad. It's just a matter of in undergrad, which is kind of a sad reality. In undergrad, you're always on a more of a stress level. You're always like worrying, oh, if I get an 89 versus a 90, or like an 85 versus an 84, that's the U of T situation, like AA plus or like AA minus or BB plus. You care about those small stuff more, and you're always worrying whether you're going to get into dental school or medical school or whatever. But in dental school, even though the workload is more, because pretty much everyone, except for those few that are trying to specialize, pretty much everyone is settled on becoming general dentist, which is amazing. So you're not necessarily freaking out about each single mark. You're just trying to learn. You're actually trying to become a clinician. When you're a clinician, as you're a dentist, no one cares about your marks, as long as you're doing a good job. And yeah, and the schedule Yasha mentioned is pretty much the same with us. Like today, I had classes since 8:30 or 9 in the morning until 6:30. So, and it was a combination of orientation, which is a little bit lighter, but then from 1:30 to 6:30, 5 hours back to back, I had simulation clinic. That was intense. Like I literally got home, I was just, on my back, just trying to stretch because my back was killing me. So yeah, that's my answer. By the way, I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm just saying.
No, we're terrified. I'm like changing my whole career plan after
He's
this.
taking out the competition. He's like, don't come to dental school.
No, it's already too competitive. Come on.
We really picked the most hardcore speakers to come and talk at this webinar. Anyway.
So for me, I 100% agree with what Nima said. So definitely there's more content that's thrown at you in dental school. It's basically, so undergrad, each semester you have 5 courses and let's say 3 hours each, so 15 hours versus 40 hours, so it's more than double. And so you do 40 hours of school, you get 1 hour lunch, and then that's just the classes, so you have to study outside of those classes. And but the one thing that I mentioned before is that you're not alone. You have other, like for me, I had a class of 96, so 96 other people that are going through the same thing as you, and that really helps. Like you're going through it together, so you study together, you go to the labs together, and you learn from each other, and that helped me a lot. And another difference that I see between undergrad and dental school. So in undergrad, you want to get the marks, and you are, and as Nima said, it is stressful because you want to perform and you want to be competitive when you're applying to dental school. But once you get into dental school, then it becomes you want to learn, and you want to, as Nima said, you want to be a clinician. So you want to make all the mistakes in dental school. You don't want to leave any of the mistakes for afterwards. So if you don't do well on one test, then that just tells you, okay, I need to focus on this more, because later on you're actually going to see patients, and this is going to be important, and you are going to be expected to to apply these the stuff that you're learning. So with the mistakes you make, it's not as hard hitting as undergrad, because here you actually it teaches you, and you want that experience. You want to make mistakes, especially in labs. The more mistakes you make, the more you learn from it. And usually the mistakes, if you're paying attention, you won't make them more than once. But yeah, as Nima said, it's not as stressful in dental school. So that's the I guess the contrast I've felt.
Yeah, that is very interesting. I don't know what to say more about that, but I just kind of expected it to be like a longer class time. You said it's like 40 minutes class and 1 hour like lunch. That's it for class time. Then it's independent studying.
No, I meant 40-hour week classes versus
sorry.
yeah. But the classes they can run. We had an hour class to 3-hour classes. The labs, we usually have 4-hour labs. So those are the longer sessions. But compared to undergrad you have 15-hour week. But in dental school, it's just a 40-hour week, 8 to 5, basically 9 to 5. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That makes more sense. 'Cause I was like 40 minutes a day. Wow, that's like all of studying on your own, the whole thing.
Oh, I wish.
I haven't done much research about that at all. I've just been trying to get into dental school, so I was like, whoa.
No,
But
they don't go that easy on you.
it's not actually easy. Imagine only having 40 hours lecture, and then you would have to study everything on your own. I feel like that would be harder for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the next question, we wanted to talk a little bit about, money matters. So like, how is the tuition? I've heard so much about like people in medical school, mostly just because there's more medical students being on YouTube or something, but like that the tuition is a lot. And then I checked dental school tuition, it's like double med school tuition. I was like, whoa, what the heck? So how do you guys plan to manage that, or like how is it? Can you just talk about it a little bit?
So for me, yeah, I think the tuition, it comes out to 180 to 200K just for the tuition, and that's if like you're living at home. But if you move closer to, so if you find a place downtown, and if you come to U of T, that's another 20 grand a year for rent, and then you have your food. So it does add up, and it does become substantial by the fourth year. But for me, and I think all the banks you go to, you can get the finances done pretty easily. Like they cover the 4 years, so that you're able to go through the programming and graduate. Afterwards, there's a lot of things or strategies people use to pay off the debt. So some people move to other rural areas, and they work long hours just so to make the money quickly and then pay off the debt quickly. And some others, they specialize and try to increase their hourly rates for when they graduate. But in terms of strategies, like personally, I don't really have a strategy yet. I'm still halfway done, but that's a topic definitely I talk about with my colleagues a lot. It's like, what do you want to do after you graduate? Are you moving? Like, where are you moving? Where are you thinking of moving? But yeah, that's my take on it. But I think finances, it's not like coming from undergrad, finances is not a huge thing that you should be worried about. I think applying for line of credits, banks can usually cover you, and afterwards it depends on what strategy you use to pay it back, but it's doable. I'll do it.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Yasha. It's I would say that finances and how much you rack up, and also like how you're going to pay it back, in my opinion, it should be your least of concerns when you're in dentistry. And to put it very bluntly, banks love dentists. So you will never have any problem with your financial situation from the get-go. As soon as you get in, without even credit checking you, $370,000 of credit line, it's in your bank account. So you can pay off your tuition. You can pay off, like even some of my friends. I'm not being judgmental at all, by no means. They would go and like buy like BMWs and Benzes in undergrad with that line of credit. So it is possible to graduate, but pretty much everyone graduates with, unless someone has like, I don't know, more supporting parents or anything that they can pay their tuition instead of the student. But overall, everyone pretty much comes out of dental school with more than 200,000, maybe even more than $300,000 of dental school debt, and add the undergrad debt to it, which is even more right now. But besides that, like when you graduate, everyone pretty much follows the same path. Not everyone just goes out there and tries to pay off their debt as soon as possible. Some people do that. And some people want to, and this is probably a little bit of extra info, but it's pretty interesting. This is something that I learned in dental school. Like if you want to, after dental school, if you want to live in big cities, surprisingly, your income would be less, even like half the income that you would potentially get if you move to a rural area. Like I have the numbers that I know, for example, first year dental student who has graduated living in Toronto or Montreal, like any of the big cities, you might make $120,000, $130,000 before taxes. But if you go to some rural place in Manitoba or like Alberta, you might make upwards of $300,000 or like $400,000 a year. First year dentist as an associate, you don't even own the clinic. So the financial stuff should not be a concern in my opinion. It's big money. I know I was personally not used to speaking in those numbers. I've never seen that much money in one place. So it's not like I'm used to handling that much money or being in debt. But when you see that, oh, everyone is pretty much on the same boat as you, and your plan for after that, same with any other dental student, is pretty much working out for everyone, that calms you down. And you're like, okay, I'm not gonna go broke and end up homeless.
Begin with the positivity, Nima, please.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, to plug about the possibilities and the positive aspects of future in dentistry. On my Instagram page, Debbie Academy, follow it. It's all about the business side and career development in dentistry. So check it out. I'm just plugging it right here.
Yeah, advertising your Instagram. Yeah, we're gonna share that actually, guys. We're gonna share that at the end. We're gonna share Nima's Instagram and Yasha's email in case you guys want to contact them at all.
Also, you can check out, I'm listening to this audiobook, The Entrepreneur Dentist, and that's also all about the business side of it if you want to start your practice. So it's about a couple of hours, but yeah, you can check that out.
Yeah, many people are surprised how many books are out there about entrepreneurship in dentistry. Or like any like practice ownership in dentistry, which is surprising because almost, I think the last time I checked, up to 90% of people who graduate as general dentists from dental school don't end up having their own practices. They work with other dentists as an associate. So if someone is more entrepreneurial, someone needs a little more headache, you might as well get it started and get ready for it from now. Like that book that Yasha mentioned, that's a fantastic book. I haven't read it myself, but it's in my list. But I've heard a lot of good stuff about it.
Yeah, Nima, what was it? I mean, not Nima. sorry, Yasha, what was the name called again? Entrepreneurial.
The entrepreneur dentist.
Okay,
Hold on, let me.
that's going in my reading list. While he's typing that, I guess in the chat, we're gonna move on to the next question just for the sake of time. So we were just wondering, so in your private life and like, how do you guys manage your time with your private life, like your friends, I don't know, any significant others, and your academic life? So is it something attainable during dental school, or should we just forget about it? Like, how does it look?
I will start while Yasha is writing it down. So I would say for the majority of dental students, I would say around 60%, 70%, dental school is a breeze in terms of social life, especially because you're surrounded by people who are very much on the same page as you are. They're all going through the same program. So it's not like, oh, I have class in the morning, oh, you have class in the evening, so our lives are not matching or whatever. So dental school, even though it's busy, but it also gives you some structure in terms in your life, because you know your schedule until the end of the year, pretty much. From September, you know what's going on. You know there are no surprises. And especially like during COVID, a bunch of my classmates like started having new hobbies. I started learning how to golf. Like a couple of my classmates started learning how to bake professionally. I'm not saying just making some banana bread. Professionally. Now they actually have they have registered it as a corporation, and they're like they sell their cakes. They take orders and everything. So they're really good. It is very much possible, 100% doable to be striking a good balance between social life and your work life. Unless you are some sort of a extremist like myself, who is like a workaholic and wants to specialize. Besides that, dental school is basically the time to actually have new hobbies and hang out with other people in your field.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So I haven't found it that hard balancing the studying and just having a normal life, just because as Nima said, you have a lot of people, a lot of friends in your class, and they all have different hobbies. So just by association, you can get on, try new things and have fun in the process. I think, yeah, through the past 2 years, I've worked out with a number of the people in my class. I started cooking with a lot of the people in my class, just different recipes and how did this turn out, how did that turn out, photography, just and also in my class, I think the different schools might be different, but yeah, people throw social events all the time, like most of the time. I think after every major test, there's a social event that weekend, just to let loose, just because everyone goes through that hardship building up to the test. You see them studying at the library over and over again, and it's like, time gets closer, the number of people at the library increases. So right after, you need to let loose. So there's social events, there's parties, there's gatherings that happen right after, so that everyone just can relax. So I think that also made it a lot easier to cope, just because these things, they just happen naturally. A lot of our executive team representatives, they arrange these, which yeah, it helps in you socializing and keeping that balance, which is very important. But yeah, I haven't had. I don't think you find it hard to make the adjustments when you have all the other people around you. So they help a lot, definitely.
we're gonna learn how to party in dental school apparently. I personally have been so like away from everything, just trying to study. So maybe in dental school, Now I have hope.
Yes, dental students, they know how to party. That's
Yeah.
what they do. Yeah.
100% agree.
You guys know how to have fun. I guess we're more social anyways, so we're all driven to have like social connections, and we're more driven to have parties than I guess people that go into research because they usually don't like to have interactions. I don't know, but that's probably why. So for our last question, Shan, would you like to ask it or should I go?
I can ask it. So I know I definitely struggle with motivation. And you guys going through your whole undergrad and now almost pretty much done dental. You finished halfway through it. What kept you motivated throughout your pre-dental journey to be able to like reach your ultimate goal of getting into dental school? And what's kept you going while you're through it as well?
So for me, I think just because for me it was my second undergrad, and I made the decision going in what I wanted to do and where I wanted to end up. So that was very helpful. Just because anytime that I get demotivated or don't feel like sitting down and studying, I just ask myself like why am I doing this? Like I don't need another undergrad. So if I'm here for making myself competitive, then let's make myself competitive. But another thing that helped was I really loved the psychology program. I had talked with other people, and I had heard that at York, normally people take the kinesiology program and they go that route, going through the kinesiology and then applying for dentistry. Now, when I applied, I applied in January of 2014. So when that happened, the kinesiology program had already started, but the psychology program they were offering. So I just wanted to take some courses, just get used to the program. And I don't know, that semester I fell in love with it, and that really helped because I found the subjects to be very relatable. So that made reading a lot easier for me than my previous undergrad, just studying sciences. So yeah, that's how I kept motivated in my undergrad. For now, I think is what keeps me motivated is just the fact that I'm going to be applying these on patients, and that definitely has an effect on making me sit down and do the work. Actually gain the knowledge and know how to apply it when the time comes.
This is probably the most difficult question of tonight. And I would say that depending who you ask, you'll get 1,000 different answers. I would say there were a lot of different reasons. When I was in undergrad, I was motivated, even though it wasn't all the time. You're sometimes more motivated than others. You have your downtimes, and it's totally okay. That's human nature. But overall, I would say that I was lucky, or even at certain times persistent enough to get to know people who had gone down that path. Basically, I mean, having people with the same mindset or like mentors are very interesting, very interesting to me in all stages of my life, because you see what they have done, what they're experiencing, and it's some sort of proof of concept, because you never know what you're getting yourself into. But when you hear from someone who has done that, you're like, okay, I like this about it, and I don't like this part about it. But when you have a lot of information, it becomes less emotional. It becomes more logical. Does it actually fit the future that I see myself in? So gathering all this information was very important, and I definitely suggest everyone to do it one way or another in their own way. But when I saw what was kind of waiting for me, what kind of career I was, gunning for, basically, I realized that, oh, that fits me perfectly. So that's why, like, in my class, I'm one of the few students who never even thought about medicine, for example. Again, a lot of my best friends are medical students, so I'm not throwing shades at all. I'm just saying that getting all that information, that context gave me a good context. So I kind of knew that it was perfect for me. So that basically kept me motivated. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very nice. I guess that motivation part is very important for us undergrads, because we're still trying to figure out like what's going on. Like, why are we suddenly not motivated? Does this mean the world's going to end now? But yeah, it's nice to hear from like your perspective that there's ups and downs and we're gonna experience this stuff and it kind of like passes, then you get more motivated. But personally, I always get really demotivated. Then I get myself in a really bad situation. Then I get the sudden burst of energy, like, Storma, fix it. What are you doing? And then I go like crazy, and then I get back to it. Yeah, but I'm trying to break out of the habit. I don't want to get too low. I just want it to be like smaller, like oscillations, like shorter instead of going up and down. That's the goal.
Yes, become a stoic. That really helps. Yasha, can you elaborate on being in the stoicism?
Well, I was going to say, in undergrad, you definitely need to watch out for burnouts. Like, it can come if you push yourself too much, if you take a lot of heavy courses in one semester. So you really want to sort of plan out your whole year, and sort of the heavy courses, you want to spread them across semesters, across years. So you really want to have a strategy going in terms of, like I said before, even the type of courses you take. So are they multiple choice or short answer? You have to write essays. So you want to play to your strength, and you want to watch out for when you get that burnout period. I think that's when you really get demotivated, and you just want some downtime. You want to socialize. You want to just watch something on Netflix, just entertain and take it easy, right? So shut off your brain. And I used to do that in undergrad. So whenever I was eating or taking a break, I would just put episodes, like 20-minute episodes of just whatever, and just watch it while I take a breather, like a 20-minute break. I watched a lot of series in my undergrads. Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, honestly, just it doesn't matter how small it is. Keep something low key and just fun on the side all the time, because you will burn out. I did. Like I remember, and I'm really open about it. After my third year, because I went like so hard for the first 3 years that starting my fourth year, I was totally burned out. I got lucky I got into dental school. The depression, the pressure from everyone around me expecting me to get in, because everyone thought that, oh, Nima is going to get into dental school. There is no question. So everyone wanted it. It's like, it wasn't just me wanted to get into dental school. Everyone around me wanted me to get into dental school. Not just family, even like family, friends, relatives. Everyone was like, oh yeah, Nima will get into dental school. That puts so much pressure on you. And especially after my third year, my first try, when I didn't get in, holy shit, that depression kicked in. I'm still recovering from it, and it's been like 4 years since then. So yeah, don't let burnout get into your head. It will happen if you don't control it, but have some fun, enjoy the journey. The final result definitely worth it though. Eyes on the ball.
Yeah, definitely. Burnout is like the green-eyed monster for our like educational, like academic lives. It's gonna come after us. It's always lurking in the back. It's like, don't push yourself too hard, but push yourself enough. You always have to know like what is the best for you, I guess. Like each person has their own limits. I guess I feel like some of my friends, how I think of it is some people can just inflict more pain on themselves than others. Like they just study so long. I can't do that. Like I need to take more frequent breaks. And I used to feel guilty about it, but now that I'm doing it my way, it's become so nice. But yeah, so we are like literally in the Q&A section. I've just kind of started with my own comments and questions. So I don't know, Shamim, do you want to advertise about the hiring, and then we can end this live and then start the Q&A live so that we could have that.
Yes, that's what I wanted to do. I also wanted to let you guys know that we do have 2 WhatsApp group chats for our club. We have a first year pre-dental students club, which is really great for first year students who are coming into university, or even any students that are pre-university that are thinking about becoming a pre-dental student. You guys can join this group chat either with a bit.ly link or the QR code. This is a great way for you guys to connect with each other. We post updates and reminders. We also have our general members group chat, which is around the same thing. You guys can connect with like-minded pre-dental students, where we also post updates and reminders about our events. But also with being a general member, you do earn volunteer hours if you're a York University student. So we will also be giving you guys opportunities to gain more volunteer hours with different things, such as assignments or just in general things. You can like stay on the lookout for that. With that in mind, we have, sorry, I missed it. We're also hiring. So if you were interested in joining our team, you can do so with the application form that's linked in our bio. The deadline is September 3rd tomorrow, but if you were to submit your application by the end of this weekend, that's okay as well. Please also submit a resume with your application. If you would like to put a cover letter with it, just have it all in one document, in one PDF doc, and just attach it onto the application form, which is like a Google form. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Besides that, thank you guys so much for this webinar. Thank you so much to both the speakers, Yasha and Nima. I appreciate it so much. Definitely such insightful advice. And I loved hearing about both of your dental journeys. To all the participants, I wanted to say thank you so much. This webinar is recorded for you guys to go back. If in case you missed anything, you wanted to hear something again, it'll be up on our YouTube channel. Our Q&A will be posted as a separate live video. So after we end this one, we're just gonna rebroadcast it again. Any questions that you guys have in the chat that you've been putting, we're gonna be also like answering in the Q&A portion. For their Instagram and their emails, we put it in the chat. Anyone who's watching from the live stream, if you did want their information as well, just DM us on Instagram. It's just right here in the bottom right-hand corner, Bright_Future Dentists. And again, thank you guys so much. Thank you